Sammy Shark, Unlikely Friends. I'm CJ Powers. I'm your host for CJ's Corner, because this is my corner of the world that you're going to be sharing in today. Today, I'm going to do something different. Of course, I try and do something different all the time, so I guess that's kind of a silly thing to say. But I've been talked to by several people have mentioned, wouldn't it be great if you could tell us a story and then help us to understand how to build the story so we can do it ourselves? I think that's a great idea. So today, we're going to tell you the story about Sammy Shark, and then I'm going to share how I created it this morning before the podcast. Here we go. Let's get started. As usual, we are here to help you to learn how to captivate, engage, and influence your audience through story. That's right. I want you to develop your skills so that you can share what's on your heart and your passion so that people can understand you and come to the place where they realize that you have something of value for them. So whether it's in business or for the family, but today we're going to talk about Sammy Shark. I wrote a short story this morning called Unlikely Friends. And the key with Sammy is that I made him up this morning using the skills and techniques that I'm going to teach you right now. But first, to do it properly, of course, I think I need to share with you the actual story. So, here we go. Sammy Shark darts in and out around rock formations with excitement. Today he gets to leave the family grotto for the first time. His smile grows wide. The sides of his mouth hurt. He struggles to wait a minute longer. It's time to make friends. Mama Shark swims up to Sammy and says, "Be careful, sweetheart. Not everyone will want to play with you." "But why not?" questions Sammy. "You say I have a precious smile." "Sweetie, some sea creatures have had experiences that make things different. They see things from a different perspective," says Mama. "Making friends is hard. We share a little bit about ourselves, then learn a little bit about them. Some fish don't have the patience to learn." "I understand, Mama." With that comment, Sammy swims off, and the adventure begins. Sammy spots a school of clownfish and swims to them. They become motionless and stare at him. To be polite, Sammy smiles at them. The fish scatter in all directions. "I guess they don't want to have the patience to learn about me," says Sammy. Sammy swoops in and around rock formations and comes upon rainbow fish. Again, the fish shake and shiver. "How do you do?" says Sammy with a big smile. The fish swim off in different directions. One of the cute little fish swims upward. Sammy notices a wide net headed toward the little guy. He needs to warn him. Sammy swims upward. A nearby crab trembles as he watches Sammy chasing after the little fish. "Poor fishy is about to become someone's lunch," says Charlie Crab. The little fish glances back and sees Sammy Shark headed straight for him. He turns the speed on, not seeing the sweeping net moving his way. Suddenly, the little guy's caught up in the crowded net with hundreds of fish. The netting presses hard against his little body as it continues dragging in more fish. The pain intensifies. Disappointed, Sammy swims away. After all, the little fishy chose to ride in a net over getting to know him. Weaving back and forth, Sammy swims deeper into the water. He spots Charlie, but doesn't bother to smile. He glides past him.
"That's it?"
says Charlie.
"You're just going to give up?"
Sammy swims around and faces the crab. "Hi, Mr. Crab, I'm Sammy. I was trying to make a friend and even smiled, but no one has the patience to learn how I can be a good friend."
"Oh, it's not patience they need," says Charlie. "They don't understand how your pearly whites can help them."
I don't understand, Mr.
"Call me Charlie. They don't know if you're a friend or a foe. Your teeth are big and sharp enough to hurt them."
"Oh, my mama told me their experiences might stop them from getting to know me," says Sammy, with a tear forming in his eye. I don't know what to do. The little guys seem more interested in taking a ride with other fish."
"That's no ride. Those fish were trapped to become someone's dinner."
Sammy perks up. "I've got to save them." Sammy puts his strong tail fin to work and speeds toward the netting. The net cuts into the little guy's belly as it hoists upward. The little rainbow fish shivers as he watches Sammy move toward the net super fast. Sammy smiles big and chomps down on the rope. The strands snap, and the little fish flops out into open waters. He is free! "Hi, I'm Sammy." Did you save me to be your lunch?" asked the shaking rainbow fish. I saved you because I'm a good friend," says Sammy. Well, don't you think everyone else could be your friend too?" Sammy smiles, spins around, and chomps after more of the netting. Dozens of fish are freed and swim away. Sammy smiles and turns to all his new friends, but he's alone. Sad Sammy slowly swims back to the family grotto. On his way, he spots Charlie.
"So, Sammy, did you save the little rainbow fish?"
"I saved lots of fish, but no one wants to be my friend."
"It's hard to make friends. They need time to learn that your teeth, strength of your tail fin, and the color of your skin don't make you bad."
"Mama told me making friends takes patience." Sammy shows a slight grin and swims slowly away. But he sees something out of the corner of his eye and turns. The little rainbow fish swims right up to him. "Hi, I'm Robbie," says the little guy. "I want to thank you for saving us. My friends are still talking about how you helped us. Do you want to meet my friends?" Sammy smiles without showing any teeth. And he nods. The two new friends swim off together. Okay, so there is the story of Sammy the Shark. Needs some slight adjustments because I just wrote it an hour ago. Excuse me. But I decided I wanted to do this for you today so that we could talk about how to build a story of this type so that you can, at the last moment, throw together a story as I did and share it with family or friends or whoever you might need to share a story with. Now, for this to work, you need to understand that there's a structure that has to be followed. For instance, we need to know right away who the main character is. We have to know who we're going to follow. My first sentence is this, and tell me if you know who the main character is. Sammy Shark darts in and around the rock formations with excitement. Okay, the story is about Sammy Shark. Right? It's that simple. Introduce your character right away. Now, I always recommend you introduce your character with some form of action. You want to express movement. You want to express that something is happening or something is about to happen, and there's anticipation building. In this case, I said, today he gets to leave the family's grotto for the first time. His smile grows wide. The sides of his mouth hurt from smiling so much. He struggles to wait a minute longer. It's time to make new friends. We know exactly what his goal is now, which is the second point. Introduce your character with action, and then introduce your character's goal. Now we know what he's going to be fighting for throughout the story so that we, the audience, can cheer him on. Oh, and in case you're wondering how I came up with the idea of sharks today, let me just show you my t-shirt here, okay? Just a side point. Okay, so back to the story structure. So we want to introduce our character with action, and we want to do it in a way where we know and understand his goal. And that's my first paragraph. It's that fast and easy to establish your story. Now, because making friends is a difficult thing, it means that there's a problem that has to be faced. We have to find a way to overcome this problem to be able to make friends. So I decided I need to find out a little bit more about this problem, and I have to explore the problem because this problem is a kind of automatic thing just based on the human condition. People have biases, people have different opinions, people judge people within seconds of meeting them, not based on who they are, but based on the filters they have in their life from the past. So here we're talking about the fact that this guy wants to make friends, and his mama comes along to give him a warning. Mama Shark swims to Sammy and says, "Be careful, sweetheart. Not everyone will want to play with you." You see, we got this friendly little shark guy that's cute as can be, that has a big smile and just wants to have fun and make friends. And he's being told not everyone will want to make fun of you. I mean, fun of you. Want to play with you. Sorry. Now, that's an odd thought. So the character has to respond to that problem that we're talking about. Not everyone wants to play with you. That is a problem. So we have to explore it. So he asks the question, "But why not?" questions Sammy. "You say I have a precious smile." Wow. How many times do we know that our parents pick out something about us that they just rave about, or they talk about all the time as if it's the golden crown of life, and yet when it's viewed against the rest of the world, it's really simplistic and has nothing really to do with anything in life? So talking about a precious smile, well, I'll tell you, in this day and age, this precious smile is very unique and will stand out. But today, our world is filled with skeptics wondering, okay, this person's smiling. Do they have something up their sleeve? Are they planning a con? Is something going on? Skepticism is a huge issue today. So something as simple as a smile can be misconstrued. The problem isn't Sammy's. The problem is the people have a filtered bias in the way they think. However, the problem also is truly Sammy's, because he's the one that has the goal of wanting to make a friend today. So we now understand the problem. Okay, you got that? Introduce the character with action, reveal what his goal is in life, and then introduce the problem he faces. Now we know to get to his goal, he's got to overcome something. We don't know yet what it is or how it's going to play out, but we know he has to overcome something. And we are ready to cheer him on so he can overcome it and he can make friends. Okay, that's how we get the story started. And by the way, that's just the first handful of sentences. So, after Mama explains it, he goes swimming off. And now he's going to have his first encounter. So Sammy spots a school of clownfish and swims straight to them. They become motionless and stare at him. To be polite, of course, Sammy smiles. The fish scatter in all directions. I guess they don't have the patience to learn about me, says Sammy. So you see how he's starting to judge the circumstance and the reaction based on the warning now that Mama gave him? That warning is going to filter everything he does going forward here. Now, some filters are good because they protect us. Other filters are bad because they keep blessings away from us. So you can see here the depth that is in this story, and yet it's written in such a simple way that a child can understand it and enjoy it. But an adult that wants to really take a look at the story, they see a wealth of information about building relationships. Okay, hopefully that subliminally is taken in by the child as well that's listening to your story, or the other adults, because sometimes preachers preach like this. And if they take it in subconsciously, they then can draw from it later in life. So anyway, the fish have scattered. Sammy swoops in around the rock formations and comes upon a rainbow fish. So the clownfish are gone. Now he comes upon a rainbow fish. And the fish shivers and shakes. Little reminiscent, right, of what happened with the clownfish? So Sammy decides to step it up a notch. "How do you do?" says Sammy with a big smile. The fish swim off in different directions. It happened again. Mama was right. So we're now in the second demonstration, the second example, so people can clearly understand what the problem is. We've demonstrated the problem twice, and we've reiterated or strengthened the Mama's comment twice. One little cute fish swims upward. Okay, so this guy is unique in himself. Now all of a sudden, everyone's scattering this direction, but this one little guy is going this way. So there's something unique there. We don't know what it is, but it's enough to catch Sammy's notice that there's something here. And he notices, as he's glancing up at the fish, a wide net headed toward the little guy. He needs to warn him. Sammy swims upward. A nearby crab. So here now, I'm going to review the problem from a third person's perspective. The idea is that as the person is listening to your story, they're hearing your perspective just about the whole way. But you want to salt in other viewpoints as well, because as you're discussing or exploring a problem within a story, you want there to be a full understanding of that other viewpoint. So, I have a nearby crab. He's trembling as he watches Sammy chase after the little fish. "Poor fishy is about to become someone's lunch," says Charlie Crab. Now he says someone's lunch, because he's thinking he'll either be caught in the net to be someone's lunch, or the shark will catch him and eat him and be his lunch. The little guy has no way out. This is not a good situation for a rainbow fish. The little fish glances back, sees Sammy Shark headed straight for him. He turns up his speed, not seeing the sweeping net move his way. Suddenly, the little guy is caught up in the crowded net with hundreds of fish. The netting presses hard against his little body as it continues dragging in more and more fish. The pain is intense. Now, we feel for the little guy And we're now starting to believe that, oh my gosh, Sammy could be a bad guy after all. And the net is certainly a bad guy. Maybe the crab is wise and sees it all coming. This guy's going to be somebody's lunch. You see how that third person perspective kind of gives you a little bit of a different look, even at our protagonist, Sammy. You start to wonder, okay, is it possible he's going to eat him? Or is it just the net that's going to serve him up for lunch? Let's find out. How does Sammy respond? Disappointed, Sammy swims away. After all, the little fishy chose to ride in a net over getting to know him. Oh, was it the little fishy's thought that I'm going to go for a ride, a joyride, instead of learning who this Sammy guy is and becoming his friend? Oh. So see, we're back to the perspective of the protagonist from an innocence perspective, because now this has gone beyond what his mother warned him about. This is realizing that this little fishy has a choice to make and chose not to get to know Sammy. Ooh, such a deep thing. Well, weaving back and forth, Sammy swims deeper into the water. He spots Charlie, but doesn't bother to smile. He glides past him.
That's it?
Asked Charlie Crab.
You just going to give up?
Maybe the crab does have some wisdom here and is going to give him some guidance. Not only that, but he's causing Sammy to second guess himself. Maybe his perception of the fish's, quote, choice isn't accurate. Maybe Sammy does need to question the filters that he has and the perspective he is looking at. So you see, the crab is wise. Sammy swims around and faces the crab. Hi, Mr. Crab. I'm Sammy. I was trying to make a friend and even smiled, but no one has the patience to learn how I can be a good friend. Woe is me, story. I'm just trying to clarify. I'm not a bad guy.
Oh, it's not patience they need, says Charlie. They don't understand how your pearly whites can help them.
I don't understand, Mr.
Call me Charlie. They don't know if you are a friend or foe. Your teeth are big and sharp. Sharp enough to hurt them.
So suddenly, Sammy realizes that this precious smile to some people is seen as sharp, big teeth that can cut into them. He never realized that. His mama just talked about his precious smile all the time and how some people have issues and therefore it's hard to make friends with them. He never realized that he had something that their perception magnified into a death threat. Now we have a reality seeping in. Instead of the coddled family perspective and the experiential perspective of, oh my gosh, the guy chose to take a ride instead of get to know me. Now we suddenly have the realization that, no, there's something about you, dude, that is going to possibly hinder some relationships. And the thing that your mother has called out as being one of your best traits is the problem. We are talking about the human condition. Do you see the depth of how a simple story can take you into considering all facets of life? That's what makes a story great, is when you can see the depth and you can contemplate for yourself, how does this impact me in my life? And what do I do as a result? So at this point, Sammy's got to try and clarify everything. After all, he's a little confused. My mom told me their experiences might stop them from getting to know me. I'm putting this back on them, folks, says Sammy with a tear forming in his eye. Oh my gosh, what a sad moment. I don't know what to do. The little guy seemed more interested in taking a ride with other fish.
There was no ride. Those fish were trapped to become someone's dinner.
Sammy perks up. His perspective has instantly changed. He now understands. I've got to save them. Because Sammy was no longer concerned about, is he the cause of the problem of the hindered friendships? He was able to drop that for a moment and give thought to the other person, their circumstance, their heart, their situation. So Sammy puts his strong tail fin to work and speeds toward the netting. Back to the little guy. Oh, the net cuts deep and hard into the little guy's belly as it hoists him up. The little rainbow fish shivers as he watches Sammy move toward the net super fast. Sammy smiles big and chomps the rope. The strands snap, and the little rainbow fish flops out into open water. He's free! Hi, I'm Sammy. Did you save me to be your lunch? Asked the shaking rainbow fish. I saved you because I'm a good friend, says Sammy. Well, don't you think everyone else could be your friend too? Sammy smiles big, spins around, and chomps at more of the netting. Dozens and dozens of fish are freed and swim away. Sammy smiles and turns to see all of his new friends. But he's alone. They all left. Can you believe that? Can you believe they all left? Because even though he went above and beyond the call of duty to try and change the perception of the human condition, he gave of himself to save them. Their filters were still significant, and they knew that sharp, jagged teeth won't end well. They scattered. So, sad, Sammy slowly swims back to the family grotto. On his way, he spots Charlie.
So, Sammy, did you save the little rainbow fish?
I saved lots of fish, but no one wants to be my friend. You know, see, there's a sad truth in this. No matter what you do sometimes for the other person, they can't get past their previous experiences, the filters they have in life. They can't see you for who you are. They can only see you for what they were taught by a third person that you are. Oh, if only people would get to know us based on who we are directly from us. Wouldn't that be better? Anyway, getting back to the story. The crab responds.
It's hard to make friends. They need time to learn that your teeth, strength of your tail fin, and the color of your skin don't make you bad.
He's talking about all the different filters. Mama told me making friends takes patience. Sammy shows a slight grin. Swims slowly away. He understands, you see. He realized that he might have to do more than save the other fish multiple times before they'll even consider being his friend. But as he's swimming away, he sees something out of the corner of his eye and turns. The little rainbow fish swims up to him. Hi, I'm Robbie, says the little guy. I want to thank you for saving us. My friends are still talking about how you helped us. Do you want to meet my friends? Sammy smiles, but without showing his teeth. So see, he now understands that the teeth are a trigger, and he's holding that back, but he's still smiling because that's who he is. He needs to smile because of his joy. Just smiles a little bit differently for their sake. And he gives them a nod, and the two new friends swim off together. Okay, so when we're talking about the human condition, we are talking about a very big, powerful tool in storytelling. I hope this helps you to understand how to structure your story and the things that are needed. The whole idea is that a story is meant to explore a question. If a question doesn't exist, you don't have a story. Now, I can say it differently. The whole reason for a story is to solve a problem that exists. So if you don't understand the concept of how to ask a question and explore it, think about it from the standpoint that due to the human condition, we have a problem and we need to solve it. Either way, it's the same practice. It's the same steps. It's just done, one is done from a little bit of a different perspective than the other. Some people say when it comes to making a motion picture, that film is an argument. That's right. You have all kinds of conflict and issues on several different viewpoints of an issue. Hopefully. There are bad films out there that don't do any of that, but the great films do. So the idea is take a look at the human condition, pick a problem that you think you have a solution for, and build a story around the exploration of it. And your audience at the end will be glad you did, because they will then know how to address an issue. Okay, that is all I have for today. So I hope that this has been helpful. Let's check things out next week and see what last second idea I get for that. All right, bye-bye.